Hello there, it is another day when we get to discuss what is health. Today we are doing our second episode, and this episode is going to cover on spiritual health. So what is spiritual health? We say someone has good spiritual health when their spirit is actually in sync with the kind of life they are living. Their spirit is satisfied with what their life is all about. So what is the spirit? To understand what exactly is the spirit, we need to appreciate what makes us as human beings. So a human being is made up of three parts. We have the body, we have the soul, and we have the spirit. The body is what represents us to the outer world, to the physical world, to the seen world. The body is made up of flesh and blood, all the organs and all the senses that we know of. The body is what really gives us permit or a passport to actually appear that we are actually alive. So if for any reason you lose your body, people say you're dead. Then the second part of us is what we call now the soul. The soul is made up of three things as well. So we start with the mind, then we come to the emotions, and then the third part is now the will. The mind is where the thinking and reasoning is done. So a mind is usually a product of what you learn in school, your experiences, what you read every single day. Saying that, it means the quality of our thinking and the quality of our reasoning really depends on what information is being fed into our mind. So if you have good quality information, automatically your thinking will be of good quality, and also your reasoning will also be of good quality. The second part of the soul is now what we call the emotions. The emotions can either be good or bad. The emotions is what we feel. Usually you have emotions on the soul, and these emotions are reflected to your body. So if there are good feelings or there are bad feelings, your body feels them, because you see our body is guided by the senses. So all the emotions that we have, maybe when you think of something, you get good feelings, you feel them with your body. Or when you think of something, you get negative feelings, you also feel with your body. And then now the third part of the soul is now the will. The will is where now the choices are. When you hear the power of the will, is the power for you to make decisions. So that is where you make your decisions from. So for example, you get information, and the thinking and the reasoning, the analysis of this information is processed in the mind. And once the mind has done that, it takes that information to the will. Now the will have to make a choice based on what the mind is saying, and or what your feelings, what your emotions are actually saying. The final decision is usually made by the will based on what is more powerful. Is it your mind or is it your emotions that will really take the day? So for example, you're supposed to exercise. It's 5 a.m. in the morning. You're supposed to wake up and go to exercise. Your mind will tell you, you actually need to wake up, go exercise because because you need to lose some weight. Then your feelings, your emotions will tell you, it's actually extremely cold. There is no way I'm going to leave my blanket. So whether or not you're going to sleep will depend with who is more powerful. Is it your emotions or is it your mind? Then we come to the third part, which is now the spirit. So the spirit is what really oversees the soul and the body. The spirit is really our core. You can influence the spirit using the mind, but you cannot control the spirit using the mind. The spirit is the master of who we really are. The spirit controls the soul and also controls the body. So what is the spirit? The spirit is made up of three things again. We have the conscious, we have the intuition, and also we have the values. So starting with the values, like a system of values, is a set standard of qualities that you as an individual are going to live by. These are individualized. If you're talking about a person, a community may have its own standards, a country may have its own standard, a company may have its own standard. We usually see vision, mission, and then values. So a value is just what you agree. If it's an individual, you agree with yourself that these are the things I'm going to live by. As a community, we don't expect people to kill each other. Things like stealing, things like telling lies, they are wrong. So now those become your system of values. Those are the things that you need to abide by. And then we come to the second part now, is the conscious. The conscious is the one that has direct communication with your mind. So once you have your system of values, these values are ingrained in your conscious and your mind. So for example, you're reading something that is against your values. You will read with your mind, you'll think and reason with your mind, but then your conscious will disagree with it, because based on the values that were imprinted in your conscious, they are actually against it. So think of anything. Think of maybe you're having a conversation and then maybe it's a negative conversation. You'll just feel like your conscience is starting to just say, okay, I think you need to get out of here. So sometimes no one may really know what you have done or what you're thinking, but based on what your conscience says, your conscience will always judge you. Now with the values, these are set standards by an individual or a company. They are agreed standard based on what you really believe in. So most people will adopt their system of values based on whatever they consider as a higher divine power. So for example, if you believe in God, whether a Muslim or a Christian, we expect you to live under certain standards. This has nothing to do with your religion. It doesn't matter whether you're a Christian or a Muslim. No, there is no religion that will tell you, okay, you can now kill. It is wrong. But then sometimes as humans, we become so corrupted in such a way, our standards of living just goes down. You think killing is okay and you can kill someone, and your conscience really is dead. It's non-existent because it has been warning you so many times, and each time you've been ignoring that warning, and it reaches a point where it's no longer a problem. When you're starting to do something, it really feels like, oh my God, this is not right. And based on how sensitive your conscience is, you will never want to do it again. But now, you see the power of whether or not you're going to do again, you see that's again, it's a decision which is now controlled by the will. So if the emotions and the feelings that come with doing a certain thing are stronger than what your mind and what your conscience can tell you, you'll keep on doing the same thing over and over again. Even if that particular thing is against your own values, you will keep on doing, because you see, with you, the emotions and the feelings that come with doing that particular thing are stronger in such a way they override your logical mind, and they also override your conscience. Your conscience will tell you this is wrong, and will tell you again this is wrong, and will tell you this is wrong. But if you keep on ignoring your conscience, your standard for living goes low. That the sensitivity of the conscience just goes down, and it gets to a point where killing is not a problem to you. But your conscience is still there. It's just that your system of values have changed, and the new system of values have been ingrained in your conscience in such a way your conscience stops sensing that killing is actually a problem. And that's when we say someone has a dead conscience. They are alive, but their conscience is actually dead. And then we come to the third part of who we are, and that is the intuition. Intuition, some people call it a sixth sense, and some other people call it a gut feeling. or instincts. Now, intuition is the innermost part of us. You see, the spirit, with the spirit, we have the conscious that communicates with the mind, and then we have the system of values that are ingrained on the conscious, and then now we have the intuition. By definition, we say an intuition is a wealth of intelligence that predicts the future. Your soul, your emotions, your will, your conscious, your system of values are all based by what you have learned, what you've been able to perceive, your analysis and your reasoning and your thinking. But intuition is above this. Intuition only talks of the future. So for example, you're supposed to choose a life partner. Yes, you use your logical mind to think, oh, how is this girl, how has she been behaving, or how is this man, how has he been behaving. You think of all those things, but then really all those things are based on past experiences. So the only way you can tell, will this person be able to live with me through thick and thin, the only way you can be able to know that is through your intuition. You cannot use your logical mind to make such a decision. Or for instance, you want to start a business. How do you predict the next 5-10 years? You can use your logical mind, you can use the data, you can use the projections, the artificial intelligence. So those things can only be known through the sixth sense. The sixth sense only talks of the future. And usually they say the sixth sense is where you are connected with the divine power. To advise your future, please remember to always use your sixth sense. It's extremely important.